The Deathworlder medic who cured an entire alien army using only their hands. The unlikely hero. The year was 2751. Humanity, having survived countless wars and countless hostile encounters with alien species, had finally made its mark in the galaxy. But even among the stars, there existed a myth, a legend whispered by the galactic fringe, carried by those who had encountered Earth's warriors and healers. They spoke of a figure, a medic from a brutal world known as Earth, who defied all odds to save not just one, but an entire alien army. Her name was Dr. Celine Juno, a name that had become infamous across the cosmos. On Earth, she was regarded as a brilliant field medic, a surgeon who had saved more lives than any in her field. But what made her different wasn't just her medical skills. No, it was the fact that she came from a planet so hostile, so unrelenting, that only the toughest of beings could survive there. Earth was a death world, a place where the environment itself was hostile to life, a place where humans learned resilience, adaptability, and strength that no other species in the galaxy could comprehend. It was these qualities that had drawn the attention of the Zorani Empire. The Zorani were a warlike species, fierce and relentless in their conquests. They were known for their advanced military, powerful weapons, and a vast, sprawling empire that spanned several sectors of the galaxy. But there was one thing the Zorani had never expected to encounter: a virus and unrelenting plague that crippled their mighty armies, reducing their elite warriors to feverish husks. Entire battalions had fallen, and the once unstoppable force was now on the brink of annihilation. In desperation, they turned to humanity for help. The plague. The Zorani didn't ask for help, they demanded it. When a fleet of Zorani warships arrived at Earth's spaceports, the humans didn't hesitate. Dr. Juno was among the first volunteers, a lone figure stepping forward from the ranks of Earth's finest doctors and medics. What she didn't know, as she boarded the ship headed for the Zorani capital, was that the plague they were dealing with was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. The virus was alien, a sophisticated biological weapon, engineered to target the neural systems of its victims. It didn't just kill, it left the afflicted alive, trapped in their bodies, barely conscious and consumed with unbearable pain. No known medicine, no vaccine, no cure had worked on the Zorani. And yet, when Dr. Juno stepped onto the battlefield, the odds were stacked against her. She wasn't a soldier, she wasn't a general, she was a single medic, armed with nothing but her knowledge, her instincts, and her two hands. The touch of life. The Zorani were proud, and their warlords did not believe in showing weakness, but desperation had driven them to make the unthinkable choice: call in a human medic. The Zorani generals, their faces twisted in the kind of scorn only the conquerors of countless species could have, watched with silent skepticism as Dr. Juno entered the battlefield. When she approached the first of the sick, a towering Zorani warrior known as Varric, who had once been the terror of the galaxy, she found him lying on the cold ground, his body racked with violent tremors. His once steely eyes were clouded in fever, his skin flushed, and his breath coming in ragged gasps. Dr. Juno didn't flinch, she didn't hesitate. She bent down, her fingers brushing against his brow. The touch was simple, but it carried the weight of all human resilience. "I'm here to help," she whispered in Zorani, using a translation device to bridge the gap between them. Varric looked up, his eyes filled with suspicion and pain. "You think you can save me?" His voice was a low growl, thick with the bitter taste of disbelief. "This plague, no one can fight it." But Dr. Juno had already begun. She didn't need high-tech equipment, nor vast resources. She needed only her hands, trained by the most grueling medical school in the galaxy, honed through years of treating soldiers, the wounded, and the broken back on Earth. As her fingers danced across his fevered body, she called upon ancient methods, techniques passed down through generations of humans who had fought for survival on their hostile planet. Through a series of subtle motions, pressing, pulling, twisting, Juno tapped into a biological rhythm, one that the virus had disrupted. Her touch, gentle yet commanding, unraveled the virus grip on the warrior's body. Slowly, Veracast's tremors subsided, his breathing evened out, his mind began to clear. The transformation was subtle at first, a mere flicker of change, but then it was undeniable. Veracast's eyes cleared, his body stopped shaking, the virus was gone. He sat up, gasping for air, feeling as though he had been reborn. He looked at Juno, his face a mixture of awe and disbelief. You did it," Varric murmured, his voice trembling. "You saved me." The tide turns. Word of Juno's miracle spread quickly through the Zorani ranks. Desperate soldiers, once sure they would never see another sunrise, now saw hope. The rumors of a human medic who could heal with only her hands grew into something almost mythical. Soon, entire squads of Zorani warriors were lining up, waiting for her touch. But Juno's work was far from done. She traveled from one battlefield to the next, her hands never still, her resolve unshaken. The Zorani generals, once skeptical, had now placed their entire faith in her. With every warrior she saved, the tide of the war shifted. Her reputation as the Deathworlder medic spread not only across Zorani territory but to all corners of the galaxy. It didn't take long for the galactic community to notice. An entire alien army, once on the verge of collapse, had been saved by one human. And the universe was forced to reckon with the strength of humanity once again. The cost. But even the strongest of humans cannot escape the cost of such greatness. The toll on Juno was immense. Each healing left a part of her drained. Her hands, though skilled, had never been meant to carry such a burden. Every day, she fought against exhaustion, against her own body's limits. The Zorani tried to offer her riches, accolades, and titles, but Juno refused. She had done what she came to do. For her, the real victory wasn't the healing, it was the resilience, the unyielding spirit of humanity that had made it possible. As the last of the Zorani warriors rose from the clutches of death, Juno stood at the front lines, her hands still, her face tired but resolute. "I did what I had to," she said, her voice quiet, but filled with the weight of centuries of human struggle. And as the Zorani Empire began to heal, so too did a galaxy that had witnessed, firsthand, the power of a human who could save lives not with weapons, but with the strength of her spirit and the warmth of her hands. Epilogue: The Legacy. The story of Celine Juno, the Deathworlder medic, was passed down through generations, in every corner of the galaxy. When the Zorani spoke of their savior, they spoke not just of a healer, but of the courage, the resilience, and the unbreakable will of humanity. Juno's legacy lived on not just in the Zorani Empire, but in every corner of the galaxy that had ever encountered Earth's finest. Humanity had not only survived the hostile environments of their world, they had triumphed across the stars.